Okay, yesterday we have done the nomenclatures. We have learned first about that the longest chain has to be numbered. That is here 10 carbon, chain with the 10 carbons. I wrote it yesterday as 4 methyl octane. No, it is octane is for 8 carbon chain. It will be for 10, it will be decane. Then we have learned about the preferences of the functional groups. Then we have found out the other things, how they will be numbered. If they are from the same group, they will be written according to alphabetical order. Then if they are both belong to the alkyl group, then the one with the smaller size has to be written first. And again, the numbers are for if there is two chlorines like here Cl, and these are all hydrogen and hydrogen, so it will be your 1,2 dichloroethene as double bond. So these are some of the things we have done. Then I have already taught you about the alkenes and alkynes before, about their IUPAC nomenclature. For alkenes, IUPAC and trivial's name will be same. For your alkenes, the IUPAC. For alkenes, the IUPAC name ends with ENE, but for trivial name it will end with YLENE, that is ethylene, propylene, butylene, like this. For alkynes, it was ending with ethyne, propyne, butane, the IUPAC nomenclature. But for trivial name, it will start with ethine is told as acetylene, then propyne is called as methyl acetylene. I told you that with acetylene the ethyl group is attached. The structure is like this. So methyl acetylene. So as you go down, it will become ethyl acetylene, then it will become propyl acetylene, and it goes like that. Next, we have done some of the IUPAC nomenclature of some of the other compounds. We will discuss about their trivial names today. As for the alcohols, it is methanol for IUPAC nomenclature, and for trivial name or common name we will call them as methyl alcohol. Okay, that is this part is methyl and this OH for alcohol. Then is your ethyl alcohol. Then is your propyl alcohol. Like this it will go. So this way the alcohols are given their IUPAC nomenclatures and trivial names. Name for the aldehydes, I have told you that OL will be substituted with AL for the IUPAC nomenclature. Now for the trivial name, how they will be named? First one is named as formaldehyde, then CH3, that is the ethane comes, ethane groups 2 carbons, so it is always common names is usually associated with aceta. So it is acetaldehyde, acetaldehyde. This will be propionaldehyde. So aldehyde name will come after that. Got it? For aldehyde groups. Next comes the acid groups. For IUPAC nomenclature, it was given as OIC. OIC was given. Now for trivial name, it will be first name will be given as, for methanic acid, it will be formic acid. For ethanic acid, it will be acetic acid. For propionic acid, it will be same, propionic acid only. Next comes for halides, alkyl halides. How we name them? We name them as chloromethane, chloroethane. Now in trivial name, they will be named as methyl chloride, ethyl chloride. Next comes ketone groups, that is CO group, and these two sides they are combined with two alkyl groups. Okay, alkyl groups are also written as R1 and R2. The R1 and R2 can be same. For example, for this one, in both here, either side it is connected to methyl group. So IUPAC nomenclature, how it was done, as because it is 3 carbon, we named it as propanone. On is attached, is the suffix used here for IUPAC nomenclature. This is for IUPAC nomenclature. But for your trivial name, it is named as, both the sides it is methyl, so dimethyl ketone. Next compound here is, I said it's 2-butanone because carbon second carbon was having this ketone group. So 2-butanone was the IUPAC nomenclature. But how we will name it as? Here one side is methyl and the side is ethyl. 2 carbon means ethyl chain. Now, as because here the largest chain is given more preference, so it will remain as ethyl. Okay. Here it will be named as ethyl methyl ketone. Ethyl is written first according to the alphabetical order. Ethyl comes first, then methyl, methyl ketone. Next comes here, one side is your ethyl and the side is your ethyl. So it will be named as, in your trivial name, as diethyl ketone. Next comes your ether. Ether is like this, CO, again C, and this C are again connected. They are your alkyl groups. So they get the name alkoxy. So how the IUPAC nomenclature is given, and their general formula is CnH2n plus 2O. So their IUPAC, here the IUPAC nomenclature, see the difference between ether and ketone. In ketone it was CO. The oxygen was combined with C, and this C is connected with, bonded with the alkyl groups. And in case of your ether, here O, oxygen is bonded to 2 alkyl groups. So here what will be the name according to IUPAC? It will be named as methoxymethane. So this one is methoxy, this is methane. Here it will be again methoxyethane. Ethane, as because the longest chain is given the name of the alkane. Okay, and the smaller one is written as alkoxy, that is here the smaller one is methoxyethane. Here both the sides are same, so you can write it as ethoxyethane. Now how the tribal names are given? It is given as dimethyl ether. It is given as your, again in tribal name it will be given according to the your alphabetical order, that is your ethyl methyl ether. Now, and it will be diethyl ether. So diethyl ether. This one is your ethyl methyl ether. So these were your way of IUPAC nomenclatures. Okay. Next comes your hydrocarbons. We will start with hydrocarbons. What are hydrocarbons? I have already told you before that hydrocarbons are okay, what I was telling about the hydrocarbons were, they were only compounds of carbon and hydrogen. Okay, and they were open chained, that is they are both the ends are open, as I have shown you from the difference between the cyclic and the aliphatic. So this is also called as aliphatic. They have a general formula CXHY, where X and Y are whole numbers. Okay, you must have seen whatever we have done with whole numbers. Whatever calculations we were doing, we were taking N as 1 and then we were calculating the number of hydrogen. Then we were taking number of carbon as 2. Accordingly, the number of the hydrogen was calculated, and they were all coming as your in whole number. So we have already learned about this before, while studying the homologous series, that is alkenes, alkenes and alkynes. So common hydrocarbons are them. So they will have the hydrocarbons are, so from this you get to know that again hydrocarbons have two categories. One is saturated and another one is unsaturated. Then saturated comes where, in case of your alkanes, that is where they have got all carbon-carbon single bond, and unsaturated includes alkenes and your alkynes. That is, they have got double bond, and here they have got triple bond. So when they have got double bond and triple bond, they are highly reactive hydrocarbons. They easily go addition reactions. So you will get to know what is addition reactions afterwards. Now the difference between saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons is one is this: all the 4 valencies here in case of your saturated are complete. So whereas in case of your the 2 carbon atoms are not fully satisfied by hydrogen atoms. They have bonded with each other, double bond, and so they are not satisfied. Then here the electrons are not available, but however here the electrons are available because these electrons and these two pair of electrons, this is double bond, they are easily available. So this type of in saturated hydrocarbons, saturated one, they usually undergo substitution reaction, that is they this is suppose alkyl group, long chain is there. I have not written what is R stand for any alkyl group. It could be ethyl, methyl. This is a long chain of your alkane. So this substitute, this hydrogen is removed and something else is being coming over here and this is being removed. This is called as a substitution reaction. This substituted, hydrogen is substituted. But for them, they go addition reaction. The unsaturated hydrocarbons, they undergo addition reactions. That is, something comes and like this add up, this break, and it takes up this. So this goes here and this combines with this and they add up to this. Okay, so this actually undergoes addition reactions because of their unsaturation and they form saturated products. Now in alkenes, first we will study about the hydrocarbon. First homologous series, we will start with these alkenes. So alkenes, we already have told so many times, they have got carbon-carbon single bond. They are open chain. They are mainly called as your paraffins. They are known as paraffins. The alkenes are known as paraffins. From the Latin word param, little, and affins, affinity. They have little affinity for reaction as because they contain strong carbon-carbon single bonds. And hence they are chemically inert. Their general formula is, yes, tell me what will be this? 2n plus 2. Yes, correct. So many times we have done it. So by this time I think you remember what is the general formula of alkenes and their general properties. Now, sources of alkenes. Most common alkene is methane. We can get it in the marshy lands because of the decomposition of the your vegetables, decay of the vegetable matters. Then in coal pockets, in coal mines there are coal pockets which are again rich in your methanes. Then the natural gas again contains 75% methane. So methane is also used as a fuel. Nomenclature of the alkenes, already I have told you that how the numberings, according to the numberings, they get the numbers. That is, in your book you will get, I have told you till C6, that is hexane, C7 will be heftane, C8 will be octane, C9 will be nonane, and your C10 will be decane. So now the structural formula, it is very important. As we know, carbon has got, we are talking about methane, okay. Carbon has got 4 valence electrons and it will need more 4 to make it octet. So this is given by hydrogen and this is how the methane is being formed. So we can write it as, so this is branch structure, okay. When we are showing it in the notebook, we are showing the branch structure and this is actually in 3D, it is a tetrahedral structure. Next comes for ethane. So your homework will be to draw the electronic structure of ethane, okay. You have to draw the electronic structure of ethane. Now, ethane, next is their preparation, how they have been prepared. First is your lab preparation. So for lab preparation, for the preparation of methane, we will be using sodium ethanoate, that is the sodium salt of ethanoic acid, that hydrogen has been, we already have done neutralization reaction in your acids and base, where we have find that the acid when combines with an alkali, it forms a salt. So this is a sodium salt of your ethanoic acid. So to make methane, we will take one carbon more. That is, we will not take methanoic acid. We will take sodium salt of ethanoic acid. It is heated with soda lime. Soda lime is a mixture of sodium hydroxide and calcium oxide, and this mixture is taken in place of only sodium hydroxide. The reason is that we are taking soda lime because it is not deliquescent and it does not attack the glass. It is not deliquescent and do not attack the glass. Okay, deliquescent, you know that it becomes wet. So as because calcium oxide is present, because of its hygroscopic nature, it remains dry. Okay, and as well as it is less reactive, it does not attack the glass. So here this carbon dioxide is lost and we get methane. So this way we are preparing this in the laboratory. Then similarly, to make ethane, what we will need? Your starting material will be what? Obviously soda lime will be there. And what will be the main reactant? I said one carbon more you have to take. So this is ethane. We have to take here sodium salt of, for methane we have taken sodium salt of ethanoic acid, that is sodium ethanoate. Here we will take sodium salt of one carbon more than ethane is propanoic acid. So we will take sodium salt of propanoic acid. Okay. So this if we heat, we will get this one. So here what happens, the mixture of the sodium acetate is heated along with the soda lime is heated. Is a stand with it is held, and the methane gas which is prepared is collected by the downward displacement of the water, as because methane is lighter than water. And here the carbon dioxide, it is one molecule of carbon dioxide is lost. So every time when we want to make an alkene, we have to take the alkane sodium alkanoate of higher, one carbon higher than that of this number of the alkane we want to prepare. Next method is your alkyl halide is heated with is in presence of your zinc copper couple in alcohol is reduced with the help of nascent hydrogen. So zinc and copper couple in alcohol actually evolves. Zinc and copper couple, okay, in alcohol releases nascent hydrogen. That is, nascent hydrogen is highly reactive. It's not in the form of this. ये ऐसे नहीं रहता है. Nascent hydrogen क्या हो जाता है? इनके बीच का bond break हो जाता है, and they are with like this with their one electrons, and they are very highly reactive. And they are not hydrogen atoms, but they are called as nascent hydrogen, and they are very ready. They are very highly reactive. They are very ready to combine with each other, but they cannot combine with each other because of this zinc copper couple. Now as it's here iodine, they see the iodine, so here they easily reduce it iodine into iodide, and that is they give out this electron to the iodine. It forms iodide ion, and then H and I forms the HI, and another hydrogen combines with CH3, that is CH3, और ऐसे बॉन्ड रहता है, राइट? कैसा रहता है? इस तरह का बॉन्ड रहता है. For covalent reaction, covalent compound, the reaction is little slower, as because they have to break this energy. They have to break the covalent bond, and they again have to form a covalent bond. For that, they need energy. So these reactions are little slower. So what happens when nascent hydrogen? It gives its electron to it, and the iodine comes out as iodide, and now the CH3 is minus, with one electron it is left. Now this hydrogen comes and combined with it, and it forms your methane. Okay, so this way the methane is being formed, as because the zinc copper couple in alcohol produce an acid hydrogen which is highly reactive. The hydrogen combines with this iodine, breaks up, and this hydrogen combines with this iodine. Okay, so here they combines with each other, and this with one electron it combines with this hydrogen and form the methane. Now next we have to prepare chloromethane. Now how we will prepare chloromethane? So obviously for chloromethane, what will be your reactants? It will be your methyl, we will get it from methane, and chloride we will get it from chlorine, of course. And what we can do so that the reaction can occur, we need some energy. Now chlorine is, we have already seen when chlorine, any reaction with chlorine, actually when they are exposed to sunlight, the reaction takes place. That is, the energy from the sunlight is enough to break this chlorine bond and they form chlorine radicals. Now this chlorine radical, what they will do? These chlorine radicals are highly reactive, okay? So they will become separated with their 1 electrons, but they are not chlorine atoms. The chlorine radicals are, they are highly reactive. They are like they want to react somehow. But however, they directly cannot combine with carbon here. Why? Because carbon has only 4 bonds. So here one bond has to be broken. So what will happen? Chlorine will combine with hydrogen and 1 electron will go here and 1 electron. They were sharing 1 electron. So with 1 electron, hydrogen will form a covalent bond with chlorine and it will form hydrogen chloride. That is, HCl is formed. And this 1 electron and this 1 electron, they will share and they will form carbon tetrachloride. Okay. So if they are kept, if the chlorine is, excess of chlorine are kept over there, this way all the hydrogen bonds will keep breaking and they will be substituted by this chlorine, and ultimately we will get carbon tetrachloride. That is, now CH3Cl plus Cl2 will give you CH2Cl2 plus HCl. Again this one will come. If there is excess of chlorine, okay, then only this will happen. This is tetrachloromethane, and again this will combine with one more chlorine element to give you CCl4 and HCl. So if we have got excess of chlorine, the reaction will keep on going and ultimately we will get tetrachloromethane or carbon tetrachloride. So this is your carbon tetrachloride. So for this whole reactions we need 1 methane and 4 atoms of chlorine. For these reactions to take place, actually we need CH4 plus 4Cl2 UV light, and we will get CCl4 plus 4HCl. But if we have only one, the ratio between methane and chlorine is 1:1, we will get only carbon methyl chloride or chloromethane. Similarly, for ethane also, we can undergo these reactions. So if excess of chlorine is there, there will be substitution of all the hydrogens in the ethane, and accordingly we will get hexachloroethane. Okay, so this reaction is called as your chlorination reaction also, and this chlorination reaction is called as your substitution because it is substituting the hydrogen with chlorine. Next is your oxidation reaction. When methane combines with excess of oxygen, it gives you carbon dioxide, water, and heat is being released. So we have already told that the covalent compound are combustible, and methane is highly combustible and it burns with a blue flame and it gives you carbon dioxide and water and heat. So methane is used as a fuel in many places. Same way, ethane will also show us the combustion reaction with excess of oxygen. However, if we are taking methane oxidized in presence of potassium dichromate, what will it first will get oxidized to alcohol, then it will further, if it is exposed to the oxidation further, it will get oxidized to aldehyde, and then it will oxidize to acid, that is methanoic acid. Is same for the ethanoic acid also. Another important reaction is your pyrolysis of alkanes. Pyrolysis actually gives us the alkynes or the alkenes. Okay, so it is actually thermal or catalytic decomposition, that is in presence of heat or catalysis. It decomposes in absence of air at high temperature, and this is a reaction, this decomposition is called as pyrolysis. Catalytic crackling is a dehydrogenation reaction, that is it loses the hydrogen. Dehydrogenation, it is also called as dehydrogenation, that is it is loss of hydrogen. So here it loses two methane molecules comes, they loses hydrogen and they form, they decompose and they form this ethine here. Similarly with ethane they will form ethene. The same reaction here, if it is carried out in presence of 500 degrees Celsius, in presence of catalyst Al2O3, we will get, it will get decomposed to ethene. So this is also your pyrolysis. This is catalytic decomposition in presence of high temperature. It loses hydrogen, that is dehydrogenation takes place, and ethene is formed. So this is your pyrolysis reaction. This is very important for the preparation of your alkynes and alkenes from the alkanes. So this much is for the alkanes we have discussed in this 10th standard. We have discussed methane and ethane only. We have to learn about their uses. Obviously I am talking about again and again. It is used as a fuel because it has got high caloric value. It reduces lots of heat energy. Next, it is also used in the manufacture of chloroform. Because it is used as a solvent for many things like anesthesia and all, it is used. Then it is used as a carbon black, which is used as a pigment in many polishes and dyes, in printer inks. Then formaldehyde, for the preparation of formaldehyde, as we have seen here, formaldehyde is this one. So the preparation of formaldehyde, it is an antiseptic preservative for biological specimens. Then it is also used for the preparation of methanol, which is a solvent for varnish, antifreeze for automobiles. Then ethanol, from ethane we get ethanol. Ethanol is it is used as a solvent for resins, a low freezing liquid in thermometers. So its main use of methane is your in the form of natural gas or gobar gas for using as a domestic fuel.